It's been 2 years since the previous book. Darren has spent the whole time doing odd jobs at Cirque du Freak, like taking tickets and setting up tents. I find it hard to believe that Darren is a vampire prince in the middle of fighting a war for the fate of the planet, but no one has any complaints about him going on an extended vacation.
Argofont Book Review, Argofont Book Review.
The Cirque returns to Darren's hometown for the first time. Darren travels around for a bit before remembering he was framed as a mad serial killer in the previous trilogy. Why hasn't he run into major problems with the police yet? A bit of research at the library shows nobody believes those police reports. Well, that's convenient for Darren. I mean, I get that nobody believes he's a vampire, but he still escaped police custody and was part of a group that kidnapped a chief of police. There should be a warrant out for his arrest. A chatty neighbor tells Darren that his parents moved away some years ago. Darren's younger sister Annie is now a single mother who lives with her young son. Darren sees both of them outside the house, but doesn't talk to them. The next day, a boy named Darius arrives at Cirque du Freak. Darius is the same age as Annie's son. Darren and Harkat give Darius a brief tour. Darius proves to be suspicious. He overreacts when Darren jokes about kidnapping him, and he knows without being told that Darren is not human. Darren's old friend Tommy Jones attends the Cirque's next performance. Tommy grew up to be a celebrity soccer player. He gives Darren a free ticket to a World Cup qualifying game tomorrow. Tommy hints he has important news about Steve, but he can't say it now because it would spoil the ending of the book. The soccer game is great fun. It's ruined when RV shows up with Morgan James, a minor villain from Book 9. They kill Tommy and run away. Darren chases after them, and he walks right into a trap. Darren's arch-nemesis Steve is waiting, along with Darius. Steve declares Darius is his son, and Darius shoots Darren in the shoulder. Darren is fairly helpless, too injured to fight back. Fortunately, Steve decides not to kill him. Steve thinks that would be too easy, so he gives up and leaves. Wow, Darren caught a lucky break there. He catches another lucky break when he's found and rescued by two of Debbie's helpers, who just happen to be passing by. They take Darren to a safe house where he spends a week recovering from his injury. Debbie explains the Vampanese have avoided detection so far by only killing homeless people. She and Alice have built up a veritable army of homeless people who want to defend themselves. They call themselves the Vampirites, which sounds a little like vampire pirates, but hey, it's a better name than their enemies, the Vampets. Darren's vampire puberty from Book 7 makes an unexpected return. Darren's senses will be on overload for a few days, at which point he'll be a full adult. Debbie's glad to hear this because it means she can finally date Darren without it being super creepy. Not to criticize Darren here, but maybe he should stay out of the vampire war until he's done with puberty. It can't be easy to fight if your body's attacking itself. Prince Vansha returns and the group talks to Mr. Tall. Even though Mr. Tall knows the future, he's not allowed to say what happens. The most he can say is that Darren will kill Steve, or vice versa, in less than a day. No matter who wins, he will become the evil Lord of the Shadows who destroys the planet. There's a little bit about Vansha in this prophecy. It's possible Vansha will kill Steve, but let's be serious here. We've known for a while that series will end with Darren and his arch-nemesis Steve dueling to the death. No way is Vansha going to step in and steal the glory. The villains kidnap Evra's 8-year-old son, Shankus. Mr. Tall is mortally wounded in this fight. As Mr. Tall dies, he reveals he's Mr. Tiny's son, making him Ivana's brother. Ivana and Mr. Tiny will hover in the background for the rest of this and the next book until they are needed for the grand finale. Our heroes chase the villains. Darren is quite evil and bloodthirsty. His friends have to work hard to convince him not to kill Darius out of pure spite. The two groups have a big confrontation in a theater. Steve agrees to trade Darius for Shankus. At the last moment, Steve kills Shankus just to torment Darren. Darren's about to kill Darius in retribution when Steve reveals Darius is Annie's son, meaning he's Darren's nephew. The end. Post-book follow-up. I saw several reviewers easily predicted this end-of-book plot twist because the book goes a bit out of its way to hide the name of Annie's son and the name of his father. If only Tommy had told Darren the truth right away, instead of insisting, "I'll tell you tomorrow." As for the fact that Darren saw his nephew with Annie, the next book will backtrack on that scene, saying he was mistaken, Annie was with a different boy. I found it abrupt how Darren became so evil and bloodthirsty towards the end. It felt out of character for Darren to become eager to kill anyone, much less a young boy. The Darren from 5 books ago would be aghast by these scenes. Hey, the Darren from 100 pages ago would probably be aghast by them. Yes, this lends credibility to the idea that Darren could become the Lord of Shadows in less than a day, but giving the narrator a big personality change at the tail end of a series is not the sort of thing that goes over well. I blame the vampire puberty for making Darren act differently. Overall, I think fans will like this book. It is the first half of a grand 2-part series finale. I like how it introduces new characters while still attempting to feature all the major characters from the series. Bringing back characters and locations from the first book works well. This book made me eager to read the last book in the series, which is the sign of a good second to last episode. I give Cirque du Freak number 11, Lord of the Shadows, an 8 out of 10.